Before humanity took its first breath, a betrayal shook the very heavens, a rebellion so fierce it scarred eternity. This is where it all begins, the eternal clash between light and darkness. A being of unmatched radiance, Lucifer, the morning star, the most exalted of angels, so magnificent that even heaven seemed to bend to his presence. But beneath that brilliance lies something darker, a fire of ambition, a hunger to rise higher, even above his creator. And standing against him, Michael the Archangel, the warrior chosen to defend heaven itself, duty-bound and fearless. Brothers turned rivals, light against shadow, as heaven braces for a war that will leave scars across all of creation. What could drive such a magnificent being to rebel? What sparked this cosmic fracture that echoes through the ages? This is more than a tale. It's a struggle of ambition turned to treachery, of loyalty torn asunder, a battle that first pitted light against darkness. And it's a story that lives within every soul, every choice between good and evil, echoing through time. Through ancient scriptures, hidden texts, and forbidden writings, we'll uncover the motives, the ambition, and the ultimate downfall of one of God's highest beings. This ancient rebellion, once waged in the heavens, still resonates in the battles we face today, in our hearts, in our choices, in the very fabric of who we are. So why did heaven's brightest, most beautiful angel turn against his own creator? And what secrets might this timeless conflict reveal for us now? Lucifer. The name alone resonates through history with a mix of awe and dread. But in his beginning, Lucifer was a being of unparalleled beauty, wisdom, and power. A figure revered among the heavenly hosts. Known as the Lightbringer, or the Morning Star, he held one of the highest positions in heaven, radiating divine light and glory. The prophet Ezekiel portrays him vividly, saying, "You are the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty, covered with every precious stone, sardius, topaz, diamond, and emerald." Lucifer was not just another angel. He was adorned in splendor, crafted by the Creator to reflect his glory. The ancient texts depict Lucifer's role as more than ceremonial. He was a covering cherub, one of the elite archangels stationed closest to God's throne. His duty? To protect, to guard, and to lead worship in heaven. Some sources even suggest he was among the first angels created, a trusted leader who commanded vast legions of angels. Imagine the might and brilliance of such a being, who radiated with light, reflecting the divine glory of the Almighty. This unique position granted him both power and responsibility, a role to glorify and worship the Creator above all else. Yet, in the depths of his heart, something began to shift. As he gazed upon his own splendor, a question, subtle at first, crept into his mind. Why must I serve? The book of Isaiah captures the essence of Lucifer's growing pride, quoting his own thoughts. "I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High." Here lay the seed of rebellion, a dangerous longing to rise higher than his designated place. Lucifer's self-admiration started as a small spark, but it ignited a consuming fire of ambition. The brilliance of his position, intended to be a reflection of God's own glory, became the foundation for his pride. Instead of seeing his beauty as a gift from the Creator, he began to view it as his own inherent greatness. In his eyes, he was no longer a mere servant. He believed himself worthy of exaltation. He began to resent that, despite his magnificence, he was not as God. It wasn't just pride, it was jealousy. The privilege of bearing God's light was no longer enough. He wanted to be worshipped, to stand as an equal with the Almighty. In this ambition, he found a voice, and that voice grew louder, echoing his desires for independence and power. Lucifer began to see his Creator not as a loving authority, but as a rival. This was no ordinary arrogance. It was cosmic treason, a challenge against the one who had fashioned him with such care. It is said that his mind turned to others within the heavenly ranks. He began whispering his thoughts to those under his command, planting seeds of doubt, urging them to question their place in heaven's order. Why should they serve, he reasoned, when they too were powerful beings? His ambition evolved into a calculated strategy, a plan to amass followers who would join him in his quest to dethrone the Most High. And thus a rebellion was born, fueled by pride, envy, and a refusal to submit. Lucifer, the morning star, now saw himself as a conqueror, no longer bound to worship but entitled to rule. He would no longer reflect the glory of God. He would create his own. In the depths of heaven, the first seeds of cosmic rebellion had been sown, setting the stage for a confrontation that would forever alter the course of the spiritual realm. As Lucifer's ambition transformed into defiance, heaven itself felt the stirrings of discord. What began as whispers in the shadows turned into open sedition. Lucifer's voice, once a harmonious part of heaven's worship, now resonated with rebellion. His pride, now fully kindled, led him to a fateful declaration, a vow that would ignite the first war in heaven. "I will ascend above the heights. I will be like the Most High." These words were not just blasphemy. They were the rallying cry of a revolt. Lucifer wasn't alone in this. Slowly, methodically, he approached other angels, angels of power and stature, those he knew would question their roles if given the chance. Like a charismatic leader, he spoke of freedom, of independence from the Creator's authority. "Why should we, beings of immense power, bow to another?" he asked. "Why not rule ourselves?" His rhetoric played upon a universal weakness, the desire for autonomy. And for some, the allure of self-determination outweighed the loyalty to their Creator. One by one, they fell under his influence, drawn into a rebellion they couldn't fully comprehend. In a staggering display of persuasion, Lucifer succeeded in recruiting a third of heaven's host. These angels, once pure and loyal, chose to follow him, pledging their allegiance to his cause. Scripture tells us that Lucifer's followers would ultimately become known as fallen angels, beings who forsook their place in heaven for a promise of power. Their transformation from radiant beings of light to entities of darkness had begun. The book of Revelation references this moment, stating, "The dragon swept down a third of the stars of heaven and cast them to the earth." These stars were angels, celestial beings, who now took up arms against the forces of heaven. The sight of this faction, countless in number, rallying behind Lucifer was both a marvel and a tragedy. These angels, once guardians of light, were now aligned in defiance against the very foundation of creation. Their faces bore the marks of pride, their hearts hardened by Lucifer's promises. It was a dark evolution, from servants of the Almighty to warriors of rebellion. Heaven, once a realm of harmony, now braced for a confrontation that would echo through eternity. As word of the rebellion spread, the loyal angels prepared themselves. Among them stood Michael, the Archangel, a figure of unwavering strength and loyalty. Michael, whose very name means "who is like God," understood the gravity of the challenge before him. The order came from the Most High. Lucifer's rebellion must be quelled. Michael, fierce and resolute, accepted the call, gathering heaven's forces to defend against those who sought to overthrow God's throne. And so heaven readied itself for war. On one side, the rebels, led by the morning star, burning with pride and ambition. On the other, the loyal hosts, led by Michael, determined to defend the Creator's order at any cost. This wasn't merely a conflict over power. It was a battle of allegiance, a clash of ideals where loyalty and rebellion would meet in a cosmic clash. Lucifer, once radiant, now stood in opposition to all he had been created for. The battle lines were drawn, and the silence of heaven awaited the first strike. What would follow would be nothing short of a celestial cataclysm, a war that would forever change the spiritual fabric of creation, defining the roles of good and evil for all time. As the rebellion took shape, heaven was not caught off guard. Among the archangels stood Michael, a steadfast warrior with an unshakable allegiance to God. Known as the one who is like God, Michael's name alone symbolized his loyalty and dedication. In him, there was no wavering, no questioning of his Creator's authority. While Lucifer's pride burned hot, Michael's faith was resolute, rooted deeply in reverence and humility. It was no surprise that, when heaven called for a response, Michael was the one chosen to lead. The archangels were a force to be reckoned with. Michael, joined by Gabriel and others, stood at the ready, a powerful reminder that heaven's ranks were filled with angels devoted to their divine purpose. Gabriel, often regarded as the messenger of God's wisdom and strength, watched as Michael took charge. Together, they would ensure that Lucifer's defiance did not go unanswered. They were not merely servants, they were guardians of order, prepared to defend heaven's sanctity with every ounce of their being. But Michael's response to Lucifer was not fueled by anger or pride. Unlike Lucifer, who sought to elevate himself, Michael's strength came from submission. He understood that his authority was not his own, but a gift granted by God. Michael did not act out of self-interest, he acted as an agent of divine justice. When the rebellion's whispers turned to roars, Michael stepped forward, proclaiming, "The Lord rebuke you, Satan." His words were not his own, but carried the full weight of the Creator's will. This response, rooted in humility, served as a stark contrast to Lucifer's brazen ambition. As Michael rallied the loyal angels, he called upon them to stand firm, to remain united in their purpose. There would be no room for doubt, no place for fear. Heaven's host was countless in number, a radiant army of beings prepared to defend their Creator's honor. Michael, their general, carried not just a sword but the authority of heaven itself. His role was not just to command but to inspire, to remind his fellow angels of the truth, that no power could rival the Almighty. And so, under Michael's command, the loyal angels assembled, their resolve unbreakable. Gabriel took his place, a beacon of strength and wisdom, while Raphael and other archangels lent their power to the ranks. This was no ordinary battle, it was a clash of cosmic proportions. Each angel took their place, forming a line of defense that stretched across the heavenly realms. Their wings spread wide, their armor gleaming with a light that seemed to flow directly from the Creator's throne. This was heaven's army, and they were ready. On the opposing side stood Lucifer and his followers, angels who had once sung the praises of God but were now blinded by ambition and pride. The sight of Michael's army filled them with both awe and resentment. Yet they did not retreat. They were prepared to defy heaven, to stand against their own kin, all for the promise of power and independence. The stage was set. In the silence that filled the heavens, one could feel the tension, a heavy anticipation for the battle that was about to unfold. Michael, with his sword lifted high, gave the command, his voice echoing with a strength that reverberated across the celestial plane. For the glory of the Almighty we stand. The archangels, heaven's fiercest defenders, were about to face an unprecedented challenge. This was a battle not just for territory, but for the heart of heaven itself. The lines were drawn, and the loyal angels braced themselves for what would become a defining moment in the spiritual realm. The clash between Michael and Lucifer was imminent, a battle that would determine not just their fates, but the future of heaven and earth. The silence shattered. The first strike came like a thunderclap, echoing through the vast realms of heaven as Michael and his loyal forces clashed with the rebel angels. This was no mere skirmish, this was a cosmic war, with every strike, every clash of celestial armor, resonating with the weight of eternal consequence. On one side stood Michael, the Archangel, wielding the strength and authority granted by the Almighty. On the other, Lucifer, once radiant with glory, now seething with fury and pride, commanding an army that had chosen ambition over allegiance. The book of Revelation describes this moment, saying, "And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back." This was not a battle fought with earthly weapons. It was a confrontation of spiritual might, where faith and defiance collided. The loyal angels, their armor gleaming with a holy light, moved as one under Michael's command. Their unity was their strength, each angel fortified by their shared devotion to their Creator. Against them stood Lucifer's forces, driven by a fierce independence, yet fractured by pride. As the battle raged, Lucifer's true form began to reveal itself. No longer the Lightbringer, he appeared as the dragon, a creature twisted by his own ambition. His followers mirrored his transformation, their once beautiful forms now darkened, corrupted by rebellion. They fought with a desperate fury, knowing that victory was their only path to power. But even with their numbers, they could not match the strength that Michael's forces drew from their Creator. In the midst of the chaos, Michael advanced, his presence unwavering. With every swing of his sword, he proclaimed the authority of the Most High. His strikes were not just powerful, they carried a divine purpose. "The Lord rebuke you," he would declare with each blow, the words themselves a force that drove back Lucifer's followers. This was more than a battle of strength. It was a test of allegiance, a confrontation that would decide who truly belonged in the realm of heaven. Lucifer, seeing his forces waver, fought harder, his pride unyielding. Every attempt to overpower Michael only deepened his desperation. He had convinced himself that he could rise above his Creator, that he was capable of ruling heaven itself. But now, face to face with Michael's unwavering resolve, he began to understand the depth of his mistake. Pride had blinded him, leading him to underestimate the very power he sought to overthrow. Then, in a final act of defiance, Lucifer gathered his strength and charged at Michael, a blinding force of fury and ambition. The impact shook the heavens, but Michael did not falter. With the strength of the Almighty guiding him, he struck back, driving Lucifer and his followers to the edge of the celestial plane. The heavens trembled as the forces of rebellion were pushed to their breaking point. Finally, in one last resounding command, Michael raised his sword, its light piercing through the darkness that had begun to spread across the heavens. "In the name of the Most High, be cast down," he declared. And with a mighty blow, he sent Lucifer and his angels plummeting, hurling them from heaven like falling stars. The once brilliant light-bearer was now cast down, defeated, a symbol of the consequences of pride and rebellion. As Lucifer and his followers fell, the heavens resounded with a victorious cry. Michael and the loyal angels stood triumphant, their faith unwavering, their loyalty rewarded. The light returned to heaven, restored by the victory of those who chose to honor their Creator. This battle, though won, would mark the beginning of an ongoing struggle between light and darkness, one that would extend beyond heaven and reach into the world of men. Lucifer, now known as Satan, and his fallen angels would become a constant reminder of the dangers of pride and the eternal strength of loyalty. For Michael and the Archangels, the victory was a testament to the power of unity under divine purpose. The war in heaven was over, but the echoes of this clash would reverberate through all of creation, a reminder that no power can stand against the Almighty. The rebellion was over, but the consequences of that cosmic battle between Michael and Lucifer would ripple through all of creation. As Lucifer and his followers fell, they were transformed. No longer the glorious beings they once were, they became the fallen angels, creatures of darkness, exiled from the light of heaven. Cast down to earth, their presence introduced a shadow over humanity, a legacy of pride, rebellion, and the relentless desire to corrupt and control. Lucifer, now known as Satan, became a bitter enemy of the Creator and of humanity, God's cherished creation. This was no accident. Humanity was created in the image of God, given dominion over the earth, a position Lucifer once craved. His jealousy, once contained to the heavenly realm, now extended to mankind. If he could not overthrow God in heaven, he would seek to disrupt God's plan on earth. This shift marks the beginning of Satan's influence in the lives of men, a subtle, insidious presence working to draw humanity away from the Creator. In the book of Genesis, we see the immediate impact of Lucifer's fall on humanity. It was he, in the form of the serpent, who tempted Eve in the Garden of Eden, sparking the first sin. In this act, Satan's strategy became clear. If he could not reign in heaven, he would do everything in his power to undermine the Creator's plan in the lives of humans. By leading Adam and Eve into sin, Satan found a way to bring discord, suffering, and separation into the human experience. This was the beginning of the ongoing spiritual warfare that continues to affect humanity. The Book of Enoch adds further detail, suggesting that some fallen angels known as the Watchers descended to earth and directly influenced human lives. They taught forbidden knowledge, introducing violence, sorcery, and corruption into the world. This influence led to the rise of the Nephilim, a race of giants born from the union of these angels with human women. These actions, too, were part of the ripple effect of Lucifer's rebellion, a spread of corruption that would ultimately lead to God's judgment in the form of the Great Flood. But it wasn't just ancient humanity that would feel the impact of Lucifer's rebellion. The Bible speaks of ongoing spiritual battles that each person faces, battles between good and evil forces, often unseen but deeply influential. In the book of Revelation, Satan is referred to as the deceiver of the whole world, a reminder that his influence extends to every generation. His role as the accuser, the tempter, and the deceiver would play out throughout history, affecting not only individuals but entire nations. For those who follow the Creator, the legacy of this battle serves as both a caution and a call to action. Michael's victory over Lucifer stands as a powerful reminder that loyalty to God grants strength beyond measure. Just as Michael and the loyal angels overcame the rebellion through faith and obedience, humanity too is called to resist the forces of darkness by aligning with the Creator's will. The story of Lucifer's fall is a testament to the dangers of pride and the eternal strength found in humility and submission to God. As Satan's influence continues on earth, believers are reminded of the tools given to them to resist: faith, prayer, and the teachings of the Creator. In Ephesians it is written, "Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil." This call to vigilance echoes the lessons of the war in heaven, a battle won by standing firm in purpose and faith. For Michael and the loyal angels, their victory was clear, but for humanity, the struggle with darkness is ongoing, a reminder of the ancient rebellion that began long ago. The unseen battle that started in heaven continues on earth, manifesting in the choices each person makes. Michael's victory is a source of hope, a reminder that, no matter how intense the struggle, the light of the Almighty will always prevail. And as believers walk this path, they are not alone. Just as Michael stood against Lucifer, the faithful are supported by heavenly forces, guardians who continue to fight against the powers of darkness on their behalf. The cosmic battle is far from over, but the end is foretold. Revelation promises a final victory, a day when Satan and his followers will be fully defeated, bringing an end to his influence over creation. Until then, the story of Michael and Lucifer serves as a powerful reminder of both the gravity of rebellion and the strength that comes from unwavering faith. The story of Michael and Lucifer is more than just a tale of cosmic conflict. It's a powerful reminder of the strength found in loyalty, humility, and faith. From the radiant pride of Lucifer to the unwavering resolve of Michael, this story echoes a timeless truth: that no force, no matter how powerful, can stand against the will of the Almighty. This celestial battle fought in the heavens now manifests in the world around us, reflected in the choices and struggles faced by each of us every day. Lucifer's fall is a cautionary tale about the dangers of pride and ambition. What began as admiration of his own beauty led to a desire for independence and ultimately to rebellion. The consequences of his choices serve as a reminder of the importance of humility and submission to a purpose greater than oneself. For Michael, his strength lay not in his own might, but in his dedication to his Creator. His victory over Lucifer is a testament to the power of obedience and the rewards of remaining steadfast in faith. As we reflect on this story, we see that the battle between good and evil, light and darkness, continues to play out. Each of us, in our own way, faces the choice between pride and humility, between independence from our Creator and devotion to a higher calling. Just as Michael's victory was secured by his allegiance to the Almighty, so too can our own battles be won by aligning with what is true and just. The story of Michael and Lucifer invites us to look inward, to examine our own hearts. Are we driven by pride, or do we find strength in humility? Do we seek to rise above others, or do we strive to serve a purpose beyond ourselves? The lessons of this unseen battle in heaven are profound, and they remind us that our actions, our choices, have the power to shape our destinies. For those who find inspiration in Michael's courage, the call to action is clear. Stand firm, resist the forces of darkness, and remain aligned with what is good. Just as Michael was empowered by his faith, so too can each of us find strength in our own spiritual journey. And though the struggle against darkness may feel overwhelming at times, we can find hope in the knowledge that ultimately, light will prevail. Thank you for joining us in exploring this incredible story. If you found these insights powerful, consider subscribing for more explorations into the mysteries of faith, history, and the unseen battles that shape our world. If you want to discuss about this story, please leave a comment below and I'll answer. Until next time, may you walk with strength, purpose, and the light of truth.